Hey everyone, my name is Kait Malone and welcome back to my true crime channel. So today's case is on the currently missing 5-year-old Summer Wells. And I'm just going to start off by saying this case doesn't make the most sense if it went down the way that the family says it did. And I think that means a lot considering I'm coming off the Justin Evans case, which honestly is probably one of the most confusing cases I've ever covered. So today's case takes place in and around Rogersville, Tennessee, which is a town with a population of about 4,500 people. So this family in particular that we're discussing today lives on 110 Ben Hill Road, which if you look at the aerial shots and the photos of the property, it's a very secluded area and a very rural area, and that really has a lot to do with this story. So keep that in mind. So on Sunday, June 15th of this year, so literally just last month, Summer Wells would be reported missing from her home, which is that property I just talked about. When Summer went missing, she was only 40 pounds, around 3 feet tall. She has blonde hair and blue eyes, and she was last seen wearing a pink t-shirt and gray shorts. Her hair was also recently shaved down to a buzz cut, which we will talk about a little bit later on, but there are photos of her circulating where her hair is longer. When she went missing, her hair was shaved to a buzz cut. So a month from now, it's not going to be that much longer. Summer is the only daughter of Don Wells and Candace Bly. She also has 3 older brothers. So how is this reported to have happened? How did Summer go missing from her home? Well, this is how Candace Bly says it happened.
I feel in my heart that somebody has came up here and took her, has lured her away from here. Me and my mother and her were planting flowers. And we went in after we got done washing our hands, and she got a piece of candy from Grandma, and she wanted to go back over and see her brothers. And I said, okay, and I walked her all the way over to the porch, and I watched her walk into the kitchen where the boys were watching TV. And I told the boys, I said, watch Summer, I'll be back. And within 2 minutes I came back, and I asked the boys where their sister was, and they said, she went downstairs, Mom, to play with her toys in the playroom. I said, okay. And I yelled downstairs for her a couple times, and I didn't get no answer, which was unusual because usually she always answers me. And so I went down there to check, and she was nowhere in sight. She was just gone.
So let's just recap Candace's version of events. So it was reported that Summer was outside helping her mother and her grandmother put some flowers in these little planters at her grandma's trailer, which was only a few steps away from the house. At some point, it seems like Summer didn't want to be outside anymore. She asked her mother if she could go inside. Candace says she walked Summer to the house, which we have to remember is only a few feet away. So why does Candace need to walk Summer inside? Was this a regular thing? Did they always keep an eye on Summer like this? Again, it's only a few feet. It's not that far away. Either way, Candace says that she walked Summer into the house. She's seen her brothers while she was inside. Candace told the boys to keep an eye on Summer, that she was going to be back in a few minutes. At some point, Summer decided she wanted to go downstairs and play with her toys. And when Candace came back in, Summer was nowhere to be found. She just vanished. Candace says she asked the boys where Summer went. They told her that she went downstairs to play with her toys, and when Candace went downstairs, Summer was not there. She says that she walked around yelling her name and she couldn't find her, but the back basement door was unlocked. At 6:30 p.m., Don Wells made a phone call into 911 to report Summer missing, and he was at work at the time of her disappearance. Now, the 911 call hasn't been released, but there is a dispatch call that was released, so I'm just going to play that here for you guys.
Being around 110 Ben Hill Road off of Beach Creek should be the first residence on your right. Reference to a missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in, advised that the mother had went for a walk, came home, now they can't find her. They've been yelling for her. She's been gone for about 10 minutes now.
Now, this dispatch call is very odd. In this dispatch call, the dispatcher is telling police that the mother went for a walk, which might make sense to why Candace told the boys to watch Summer and she'll be back, but this narrative never continues. And on top of that, in the parents' full interview, which I'll have linked down below, you should definitely check that out. It is very strange in my opinion. Candace makes a point to tell the interviewer that she does not like to go for walks. She's scared of wild animals. So it's very strange to me that the dispatcher says his mother went for a walk, and then Candace goes and says she doesn't like going for walks. So on top of that, Summer was reported to have only been missing for about 10 minutes after this 911 phone call was placed. How does a 5-year-old go missing from her home that fast? Well, let's discuss that. Again, you should definitely check out that interview. I'm gonna have a link down below. It just gives me bad vibes. The parents are just so calm and flat about everything. And in my opinion, there's zero emotion being expressed. I've seen a lot of people discussing that they're just trying to hold back tears and that they're simple folk, but I don't know. The interview is just strange to me. I don't, it gives me some strange vibes. Let me know how you feel about it below. A big thing that really bothers me in this interview is that they talk about Summer in the past tense, and it's not like Summer's been missing for months and years, and at this point it's only been like a day or so, and they're already talking about her in the past tense, which on top of that, they blatantly point out to the interviewer that they are talking about her in the past tense and that people have been jumping on them for it. Now, I don't know what that could mean, but in most cases, it's not a good sign. I don't know, I just find it strange. But the main narrative the parents seem to be pushing is that this was a stranger abduction and to look into drug addicts and criminals in the area. Now, I can't personally get behind that theory, but if you do look up the amount of sex offenders in the area, I personally seen from the link that I looked at, it says there's 51, and now if you consider there's 51 sex offenders in the area of Rogersville with a population of 4,500 people, that is a very high amount. It says to be about 87 to 1 resident, which is honestly pretty concerning. However, the TBI, which is the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, says that there is no evidence towards a stranger abduction. However, what really concerns me with this case is that Candace Bly filed an order of protection against her husband, Don Wells, very recently actually. And on October 14th of 2020, Don was arrested for this. He was arrested for domestic assault, possession of a handgun while under the influence, and unlawful possession of a weapon because he was on probation as far as I know. And on the report, when Candace was describing the abuse in the abuse section, I'm just gonna read it here. She wrote, "He drinks and throws things. I am afraid of being hurt. He is abusive physically and mentally towards me. I am afraid for my children and myself. My mother fears he is going to hurt her because she is staying in her camper on the property." But it seems that after her and Don talk it over, that she ends up telling the police that she wants to drop the charges, which I find a little strange. On top of that, Don has been charged with multiple felonies and also has served time for convictions in multiple states, including drug and burglary charges. He also has multiple parole violations under his belt as well. But it's not just Don. Candace has a record as well. She has a record out of Wisconsin where she pleaded guilty in 2003 to disorderly contact and domestic abuse. And yes, it continues to get worse. Don actually has an older son named Donald Wells. He is 34 years old and he is a convicted sex offender. In Arkansas, he pled guilty to sexual indecency with a child in 2007. And when asked about this, Don tried to make a lot of excuses for his son, and I honestly just think it's gross. I honestly don't even want to get into it. It was just gross to me. There's no excuse. This also isn't the first person to go missing from this family. On August 21st of 2009, Rose Mary Bly, Candace's sister, went missing in Wisconsin. And she went missing under mysterious circumstances as well. She was 21 and mother of 2 children. She went to go meet someone or go out somewhere and then didn't make it, disappeared, and her vehicle was found in another town. And it's been over a decade later and no one's found her, there's no leads, nothing. So it's also very strange. Could it mean anything? Maybe not, but 2 people going missing from your family is always a little weird. So that's a little background information on this family. Let's get back to Summer going missing. What I find odd is that it was a very short time frame between Summer going into the house and then Candace coming back to look for her, only a few minutes, up to 10 minutes at most, and she just went missing. How did no one notice their child being abducted from a few feet away in a very remote area where other people would not be? It's again really odd to me that the grandmother's trailer is only a few feet away from the house, yet Candace needed to walk Summer inside and no one heard anything. Also, from what the photos look like, the back door of the house is pretty visible from where they should have been planting flowers by the grandmother's trailer. Now, it's not a direct eye view, but it's definitely not that far away. It's not on the whole other side of the house, and this also isn't a big house. It's reported to only be about 700 square feet. And on top of that, if Summer simply decided to wander off for whatever reason, how did she get that far that police still haven't found her a month later? Authorities are asking anyone with at-home cameras to check their cameras as well as check their property to see if Summer is on it or if there's any evidence or footage of Summer. So I just also don't buy the whole narrative of Summer wandering off, because personally I have cousins that grew up in rural Ontario, very similar landscape and look to the house that Summer lives in, and kids that grow up in the countryside, they know not to wander off. They're very familiar with the area and like what the woods are like. Even at 5 years old, they wouldn't decide to just wander off into the woods. They know that they're supposed to stay within this eyesight of the house, and Summer was 5 years old. It's not like she was a toddler. She would know better than to wander off into the woods. On top of that, her parents also stated she wouldn't just wander off. And the thing is, I don't really believe what the police are saying or what the parents are saying. It seems like the police are thinking of this is that she wandered off, and the parents are saying she was abducted from inside her home. And I don't believe either. I don't see Summer wandering off, and I don't see someone getting inside that house and abducting her from in that home with these circumstances. Yes, there's been cases of kids being abducted from inside their own home, or parents sending a child out to the front yard to play and someone abducting them, but those aren't in places that are rural like this. Is it really that possible for someone to abduct a child from inside a home while the parents are in the yard? It doesn't seem that likely to me. So there's this pickup truck that police are talking about. They state that a Toyota pickup truck was seen in the area of Beach Creek Road and Ben Hill Road in the late afternoon to early evening of Monday, June 14th or Tuesday, June 15th. So it's a little iffy on this timeline. Law enforcement is saying this person in this pickup truck might have seen something and to contact authorities. Again, I don't believe that this was a stranger abduction and that someone drove onto this property to abduct her. And here is why. So my family has a cottage up in a rural area just like this, and it is so quiet in areas like this, you can hear a vehicle driving down the road from a mile away, let alone pulling up into your driveway. And that's most of the time how we know someone's coming over, is we hear someone, crunching up the driveway, and you look outside to see who it is. And normally in places like this, if anyone spots a vehicle that is out of the ordinary, like this truck possibly, people are gonna notice it. And people are gonna go, investigate it, even if nothing sketchy is going on, because in these areas, they're very rural, very remote, everyone's really close to each other. If there's a strange vehicle, people ask questions. But like I said, if the theory is that someone drove onto the property, went inside the house, abducted Summer, and then took her outside back to their vehicle and went off, I don't understand how no one noticed when they were literally outside. It doesn't make sense to me. It also doesn't make sense to me that someone would park their vehicle somewhere farther away, walk up to this home, because it's not like a home that's on a main street. It's down a long driveway, up a bit of a hill. You wouldn't just see this house from the road. So I don't see how this person would be brave enough, let alone stupid enough, to walk up some driveway like this far enough into the woods in the wide open space, and then somehow, while people are outside, sneak into the house, abduct this 5-year-old who is going to be screaming, thrashing around, trying to get away, unless he somehow subdued her, and then took her out of the house, again with no one noticing, all the way down this driveway back to his vehicle that was parked somewhere else. I just don't buy it, and it's just way too complicated in my opinion. So let's jump into some main points of this case. We're gonna start with the day at the water. Earlier that day, Candace took Summer to go swimming, and this is a huge point of contention for people. So that day, Candace says that she took her mother to go have knee surgery, and then afterwards they had to go fill a prescription at the pharmacy, and while they were waiting for this prescription to be filled, they decided that they would go across the street to take Summer swimming because it was hot that day. And she took her to a place which is called Warrior Path State Park. An unnamed 15-year-old boy was also with them that day, and there was also a TikTok video posted of Summer swimming in the water. When Candace was asked about this day and about this 15-year-old boy, she seemed very hesitant to talk about it, like she was trying to avoid this conversation. So I'll play a little clip so you can see that yourself.
Is there anybody else swimming with you? People I think had questions about
wanted to go with because he didn't want to be around his grandmother because, as he would call it, she's a I'm sorry, that's what he said. And I said, okay, well, I gotta go pick up Mom from the hospital, and then we gotta go do Walgreens, and then I'll take you home. Well, we had to wait for Mom's prescription at Walgreens, so we just went up to Warriors. There was all kinds of trash everywhere at Warriors when we showed up. And I let Summer out to play. And we just stood there for about 15, 20 minutes. And then we all got back in the truck and went and got Mom's prescription. And I took him home. And then we came home.
So after this story about Candace being at the water with Summer went out, a man went to that area and started searching around to see if he can find any evidence. He ended up finding a garbage bag full of alcoholic beverages that were drank, and this ended up becoming a huge thing online of rumors and stories circulating about this bag of alcohol. And people started wondering if Candace had been drinking that day while they were by the water and if she was feeding this 15-year-old boy alcoholic beverages. But none of this has ever been confirmed if it was ever true. And Candace seemed to make a point in the interview that when they went to go swimming, there was a lot of garbage around. It seemed like she was trying to make a point to say like the garbage wasn't ours that he found. There's another video a little bit later that day after the swimming hole where Summer's sleeping in the backseat of the car and her head is propped up on these milk jugs, and it seems like the grandmother is filming her, and they're talking about how her arm was in a weird position and if they had caught it. So I'll just play that for you now.
She still got her arm up?
No.
Oh, that's what I was trying to catch, but...
So this is the last known footage of Summer before she went missing later that day. A lot of people have speculated that in this video, Summer is possibly not alive, and I don't really buy this one. I don't see why they would have filmed something like that if she was dead. Honestly, to me, it just seems like their child was sleeping in a funny position, so they were trying to catch it on camera. But hey, weird as happened. Let me know what you think below. So next we're gonna talk a little bit about Summer's shaved head. So the whole reason why Summer's hair went from long to short is a little bit confusing to me. And in the parents' interview, when they were asked about it, they contradicted themselves. So Candace starts off by saying that Summer was a tomboy and that she wanted to be like her brothers and herself who had shaved her head. And so Summer wanted to shave her head as well, so they shaved her hair. But while Candace is talking about this, Dawn interrupts her and basically starts saying that Summer had cut off the back of her hair, so they decided they were just gonna shave it all off so it would grow long, and that in response to that, Candace shaved her own head so that Summer wouldn't feel bad about her hair being short. That's the gist of what I'm getting. Now, I don't really understand that. The stories are completely the opposite, and I don't understand, did Candace shave her head first? Did Candace shave her head because her daughter's hair got shaved? It just is all very confusing and contradictory, and I don't know why they said that. Okay, next let's go over a little bit of the timeline of events that happened. It seems like Candace is saying that she doesn't really have a timeline. She doesn't want to say times of when things happened, but clearly there's a timeline of some sort. They were thought to have been swimming around 12:30. There should also be a time from when the prescription was filmed that could be proven. And if Summer was swimming at around 12:30, they dropped that 15-year-old boy off around 2:30. And then the video of Summer asleep in the car was taken around 3:09 when they were on their way home. So she had to have disappeared around that time to the time around 6:30 when that 911 call was placed. So that's around 3 hours. And after that 911 call was placed, a massive manhunt took place. An Amber Alert was quickly released, and later that night it was upgraded to an Endangered Child Alert. Around 60 to 80 people participated in the initial search, and this started off with combing the area around Summer's home. The TBI did state that the circumstances around Summer's disappearance were unclear, and they had no potential suspects. The searches would go on until dark and would continue into the following days, and that is when the interviews started to come out from the parents. From what law enforcement would come out to say, they don't think and they have no evidence to prove that she was snatched from the property, yet the parents continue to push this narrative, like I keep saying, that she was kidnapped. And again, I don't believe that she was. I don't see someone coming onto the property from the way that they said happened and would kidnap her. It just seems too complicated. There are too many circumstances and chances for him to get caught. I don't see why someone would do that with two people literally outside a few feet away. I don't think it happened the way that they're telling the story. So the Friday after Summer went missing, the police had another press conference. And this is where law enforcement would say that they are now using dive teams and that they were expanding the searches, which expanded to over 100 people in 40 different agencies. No search warrants have been issued at this time either. On Saturday night to Sunday morning, a tip led law enforcement to start searching fields on Beach Creek Road. And they were searching this field with flashlights with a helicopter flying above overhead until early Sunday morning, but nothing was found from that either. This is also when Don starts mentioning that he knows that Summer isn't in the area, but he understands that police have to search the area, which I find so strange. How does he know for sure that his daughter is not in the area? Either way, 2,400 acres of land would be searched and Summer would not show up. So where is Summer? On top of that, the following week later, Don would start telling reporters that he believes that Summer was trafficked and that they found her on Facebook and that they came onto the property and abducted her. Don also said that Candace had took a polygraph test with the FBI, but when the TBI was asked about this, they would not confirm nor deny that Candace ever took a polygraph test or what the results were. But Don was saying that she passed this polygraph test. So one other little point about Don, because I know I've been picking him apart a lot, But I just find it really odd that he says that he forgets about Summer and forgets that she's missing for like 15 seconds or like a few minutes, and then it all comes flooding back to him. It's not like she's been missing for years or for months. Literally, she's been missing for days, and you're saying that you're forgetting that she's gone? Like, I don't get it. You think that the first thing on your mind constantly would be, where's my daughter? I need to find her. She could be trapped somewhere hungry and scared and cold. How could you forget that she's missing even for 15 seconds? I don't know, I just get really bad vibes from these interviews. It's just odd to me. The things he says are odd and very unnecessary. But despite law enforcement's efforts, Summer has not been found still. In my opinion, as I've said multiple times now, what happened here and what is going on here is not a stranger abduction. And there are no new leads to where Summer may be. Personally, I don't believe that she was abducted. I just don't see it. I don't see how it is possible that she was abducted from this basement when there were kids inside that would hear her being abducted. Her mother and grandmother are literally outside in the yard. How someone could sneak into this back door and abduct her and get off the property, let alone drive a vehicle onto the property with no one hearing it or noticing. It just doesn't make sense. I don't think it's possible. But I would love to know your opinions on this case. There's not too much information on it, but there is a lot of interviews. So I'm gonna link them down below if you guys wanna watch the full ones yourselves. I definitely recommend it. They're interesting, to say the least. But yeah, let me know down below what you think happened to Summer or what is going on here, because it's just strange to me. I don't know. I just want to know what the consensus of everyone else may be. But of course, if you have any information or any tips, definitely contact the TBI. They have made statements though that they don't want any false stories or rumors being reported because it's just, you know, hampering the investigation. They're going to all these weird leads and theories people have, especially about that video of her in the backseat of the car. I don't think that is too sketchy, but they have to be credible facts. They don't want just theories or rumors being reported. They want like actual facts of people that were in the area that may know what happened, may have seen something, may know something about this family or about what happened. Definitely only contact them if you have actual credible information. But with that, I am going to keep on this case. I really want to see what happens with this. I really want to know where Summer is and what happened to her. So I will definitely be updating you guys when there are updates on this case. So if you are not subscribed, definitely hit that subscribe button so that you will be alerted when I post a new video. But yeah, that's all the information on the case. So I'm going to let you guys go, and I will see you in the next video.